KXL 92.5 FM.
All right, the new drug today is we are coming up on the Players' Championship. It is right around the corner, and that makes me happy. Make you happy?
Yeah, we'll be talking about projected cut line a week from right now.
How about that?
Because it'll be getting dicey for some of these guys on the course.
Yeah, number one, I like being happy, and this makes me happy. So we'll talk all about that coming up. We are right around the corner. I'm looking at baseball scores, JJ. It's going to be a good year for the Marlins. In the top of the ninth here in the Grapefruit League, they only trail Boston 20-2.
No.
So there's that.
Isn't there a 10-run rule?
I just wanted to throw that in.
Yeah, why would they let that keep going?
20-2. The Marlins are batting top half of 9, down 18 late in a spring training game.
Yeah.
I just wanted to share that with
I mean, if you put Florida Panthers players in Marlins jerseys, wouldn't they do better than this?
You would think, right? Apparently, they're going to be like historically bad this year. Not like they haven't been before, but just like historic.
I'm looking forward to that.
That poor fan base.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine?
When they're good, they tear it down immediately.
Right, immediately.
And for most of their lives, they've just been dreadful.
Yeah, so they really are. All kind of things today. We are. It really. Sunday, I guess, is the eve of of our Players Week. We'll be at the Haight on Monday, the UNF golf tournament, which is they do a terrific job with that. That's at Sawgrass. That's across the street. And then the rest of the week, our program, like all of our programs here at 1010XL, will be live from the Players Championship. And I really love the week. I look forward to it. It's one of the big weeks of the year around here in sports, and so that comes up next week. Today, as a matter of fact, coming up in just about 10 minutes or so, Bill Hickey's going to join us. Bill is very involved in the military job fair. Now, you know, General Mike Fleming has been with Brigadier General Mike Fleming. Usually tells us about that, but Mike wasn't available. But Bill's going to stop by. He's one of the co-founders of this Jacksonville Military Veterans Coalition. Okay, so it's a big deal to him. He's very involved in it, and he and Mike Fleming and others have put together this job fair. So it's an important day. Tomorrow's an important day for military. That's why we always try and do this on the Friday beforehand. It's the 14th annual veteran job fair. It's going to be coming up tomorrow from 10 till 2. And Hays, we've talked about it a bunch with Mike in the past, and we'll talk about it with Bill coming up in just a bit. So, but over 300 plus job seekers are going to be there. If you care about our military, you'll understand the importance of this, and I think people do care about it. So that comes up in about 10 minutes or so. We'll talk more Jaguars cuts. You and I didn't really get a chance to really delve into it yesterday because they came late. Any further thoughts that you had? Again, didn't the Ingram come right at the end of the show?
Right at the end, like literally in the handoff.
Yeah, that's right. It was during the handoff when the Ingram thing broke. Exactly right. So now we've seen Ingram, Kirk, Duvernay, for what it's worth. Mitch Morse retires. Josh Reynolds, for what it's worth. And we've seen Ronald Darby, who obviously was benched at the end of the year anyway. So, what do you make of it? What's your takeaway so far as we get to 4:00 on a Friday?
Well, my first takeaway is that they saved $7 million combined by cutting receiver Josh Reynolds and cornerback Ronald Darby, as you mentioned. How those two players save $7 million tells you all you need to know about Trent Baalke. All you need to know. Liam Cohen and James Gladstone needed the maneuverability to get the kind of team that they want, as close to the version of it as they can. And they now have $60 million in cap space. They went from having a below average amount of cap space to now they have the 7th most in the league. But that's even more accentuated because they have an owner that will absolutely spend it. Some owners won't. Like the Patriots, Robert Kraft is, he's trying to get in the Hall of Fame, and obviously everybody knows about the dynasty, and they have $120 million. I don't know that they're going to spend that. Like there's owners that just simply aren't going to, they just don't like writing the huge signing bonus checks. Shad Khan does not have a problem with that. So if you assume that, they need $10 million for their draft class, so that gives you $50 million in which to operate, I think they're going to spend $50 million. Maybe not all at once. They probably will want to save some for, something they could do at the trade deadline, depending on where they are in the division. But I think you're getting ready to see a lot of action coming this weekend if they elect to use the trade market to benefit the team. And certainly once you get to legal tampering, I would be shocked if you don't see multiple moves. And so it's interesting. And we can talk about the paths they can take because there's a couple different ones. I wrote a blog on 1010xl.com sort of about this. But I wouldn't be surprised if they go quantity more than quality and really try and target guys that are maybe more of the hidden gems. Gladstone and Cohen seem like guys that have a lot of confidence that they can find those kind of players. So it may not be necessarily like 2 elite free agents, but I think it'll be a big wave of guys coming in that they feel like will excel with how Liam wants the ball club to look on both sides of the football.
I think what you just described, did you write that in your blog? Shame on me for not reading it. It's my favorite blog of all time in the history of my life. And so shame on me for missing out on that. I'm going to go read it right now. I'm not even going to do the show.
There's no mention of Paul Skeens in it. So I find that hard to believe that it would be your favorite, but I appreciate the sentiment.
And which would also explain why I didn't read it. So having said all that, joking aside, I think what you just described on air is exactly what they're going to do. Listen, they created a bunch of money. So one of two things are going to happen. They're going to load up the Brinks truck for one really big free agent. One blockbuster deal that's going to wow, can you believe that guy's headed to Jacksonville? That deal. Teams that do that are a player away, or a player or two away. Teams that have to kind of sort of rebuild a little bit, or certainly rebuild the foundation, do exactly what you said: quantity over quality. And we'll see. We won't know until they start doing it. Nobody knows except the people not building. But I would imagine exactly what you just described is 8 or 9 guys that have a chance to start, that are good players, that might be, to your point, diamonds in the rough. I'll bet you what you described way more succinctly than I'm describing it right now is what they do. And we'll see. We'll know. Now, we'll say this, and Milton Williams will come here for $8 trillion, and I'll be wrong. But I'll bet you it's what you just said. I'll bet you they do. And that makes them – so what that means is they took, with all due respect to Darby and Reynolds and Duvernay and Mitch Morse retiring, what it essentially means is they took Ingram and Kirk, two good players, and turned that cash into 6 or 7 players. That's kind of the succinct way of saying it. And I thought about it like you did, Hays, and I'll bet you this is where they're headed. And I'll bet you that's what you start seeing. So you're going to see a name Monday or a name Tuesday, Monday, and then a second name and a third name. You're going to go, that's not a superstar. I think the quantity over quality. Again, you said it very succinctly. Now we'll see if that. But I'll bet you're dead on. I'll bet that's why all this creation of money that just came out of nowhere. I'll bet that's what it's about. So we'll see. So we'll talk about some of that. But I think that's a dead on point. So, and we'll certainly talk more about that as we continue to go. We'll talk basketball. JU's basketball season ended last night. It was a weird game. If you watched the North Alabama game, and I did.
Some frustrating late whistles.
Yeah, there were some frustrating late whistles.
I mean, it's not why they lost.
Yeah, they lost the game in the first half. They get, and then early second half they got down 18. I sensed a run was coming. They were down 18 middle of the second half, or almost middle of the second half, and you blinked and they were down 3. They got it to 3, but then they ran out of gas, and so North Alabama. At the end of the game, and good for North Alabama, they stormed the court like they were cutting down the nets in San Antonio, and good for them. I mean, it was good for them. I'm not begrudging them. I mean, that was a really big win to them. It was kind of the point. But the JU season ends. They win 19 games. It's a 19-win season, 13-7 in league games. Good season. Good season. They're closer. They're getting closer to where they want to be, I would think. Jordan Mincy would tell you this too. They got to find more shooting. They were last. I didn't know this till watching it last night, and they said it on the broadcast. They were last in the 12-team conference in free throw shooting. Did you realize that?
I did not.
They were 12th. If you can't be 12th.
That's not good.
You can't be 12th in your league in free throw shooting.
They had one game where they were 5 of 15,
and maybe there are more than we realized of games like that. So, but anyway, listen, Jordan Mincy's got a good program over there. They made the Final Four of the conference. It was a 3-point game with about 6 minutes to play. and it felt like JU had the momentum then. Robert McCray played phenomenally. Didn't do much in the first half. Played very well in the second half. Chris Arias, the freshman from Providence, really shot it well, but they got to find more shooting. I think that's the story with JU. So their season ends. We'll talk some Florida basketball.
It was frustrating, though. There was a couple instances where, like, North Alabama drove. The guy lost the ball.
Yeah.
And it was like once the guy, like, had lost the ball and it had bounced twice, then the whistle blew.
That did happen a lot.
And I was like, what's going on?
I thought the same thing. After it looked like there was no foul call, whether there was a foul or not, there was going to be no call.
Yeah, the action was almost ready to break the other way.
Yeah, I saw that a few times that happened. Yeah, no, I agree with you. It was frustrating.
And again, it wasn't like they lost by 2, but in the middle of a rally.
Yeah, that's right.
Those are big.
Yeah, they were. They were big. You're on the road. It was loud in there. You could tell it was loud in there. So, but anyway, JU season ends with 19 wins and a 13-7 overall mark in the Atlantic Sun. We'll talk Gator basketball coming up later on. We'll talk NFL with Pete Prisco coming up later on. We got a lot of things to get to on the eve of Players Week at the very least. We'll do that. But when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about something going on at the stadium course tomorrow. It's a military job fair, the 14th annual. Bill Hickey is one of the founders of that. He will join us after this to discuss it on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
One thing that separates Beard's Diamonds from those other jewelry stores at the town center, no one's paid on commission.
Nobody at Beard's is on commission. That's more of your corporate stores that pay commission.
Beard's owner, John Lupo, says that means no pressure, no hidden agenda, no extra markups.
And you're getting a better deal. You're not paying the corporate commission. You're not paying the salesperson's commission. But if they're paying their salespeople commission, you're starting off in the hole.
And that's why you feel like a number at most jewelry stores, because it's all about making the sale, but not at Beard's.
Because it's a corporate atmosphere and they want to sell you what they want to sell you. We're here to sell you what you want. Our salespeople can do whatever they want to make sure that the customer is happy.
So relax. At Beard's Diamonds, they have all the things you want, like quality education, selection, warranties, and none of the stuff you don't want, like pressure and tacked on commissions.
Nobody's making an extra 5 or 10% on Beard's customers.
Beard's Diamonds, the town center's only locally owned jeweler.
We sell better merchandise, better product for less money, guaranteed.
Here's Linda Beaver.
At Beaver Chevrolet, we believe your experience should be more than just buying a car. It should be a lifetime of confidence, care, and trust. That's why we're proud to offer lifetime warranties and lifetime customer service. At Beaver Chevrolet, we're not just here to sell you a car. We're here to establish a lifelong relationship that you can always count on. It's simple. You deserve the best and shouldn't settle for less. Visit Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville, where we're ready to give you a peace of mind for a lifetime.
Don't miss the Players' Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scottie Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
Getting a pool? David Garrard here. I just did. But before they dug, I called Clearwater Irrigation, and they capped off all my sprinkler lines so the pool company could just dig away.
Then when your pool's finished, we'll install your sprinkler system back to full coverage.
And now my backyard oasis is getting watered beautifully.
And maybe then, Dave, I could take another quick dip.
Bigger swimming trunks, John. Much bigger.
Clearwater Irrigation.
And drainage, too.
Mike Dempsey here. Look, you know, it's been 10 years that I've been vouching for my guys at Dandy Boots, and for a decade, I'm proud of my association with a local family business. They make a great product. I've made no secret that I was a customer long before Dandy ever came on board on 1010XL. But I'm thinking I'm due a little Dandy swag, maybe a little love. How about a Dandy t-shirt, a ball cap? So how about it, Thompson family? What do you got going on over there? In the meantime, I'm going to keep eating those delicious tuna salad sandwiches. So guys, keep helping me out and grab a Dandy sandwich today.
Get to know positions and players. The 1010XL Ultimate Draft Guide is brought to you by Blue Haven Pools, the #1 pool builder in Jacksonville. Follow rankings and roundtables as the draft takes shape. Go to 1010XL.com/2025 draft guide to get yours.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
Cool Cats Heating and Cooling, the coolest cats in town, setting the standard in our hometown. Quality service, the best around. Coolidge is the cat that cares about your heating and about your air. Cool Cats Heating and Cooling, the coolest cats in town.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Looking for adventure? Need a machine that works as hard as you do? CF Moto has you covered. At Ride Now Beach Boulevard, we've got CF Moto ATVs and UTVs built for any task, any trail, anytime. Tear up the dirt with the trail-tested C-Force ATV lineup or conquer through terrain with a Z-Force UTV. Find your CF Moto ride today at Ride Now Beach Boulevard or visit ridenowbeachboulevard.com. ATVs and UTVs are for riders 16 and older. They can be hazardous to operate. CF Moto recommends an improved safety training course.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now back to a Big Chief Tire Friday on The Frangie Show. Big Chief Tire. Visit BigChiefService.com.
We take our friends from Big Chief Tire every Friday. It's a Big Chief Tire Friday. 5 locations here on the First Coast, the north side. The newest one's in Orange Park. The south side's on Phillips Highway, 2 on the west side. Brakes and oil changes and alignment and those great, great tires that you can trust them. For over 60 years, they've done it in Jacksonville, my friends, from Big Chief Tire. Bill Hickey joins us now. I've known Bill a long time. He and General Mike Fleming, as you know, are very involved in this military job fair. As a matter of fact, Bill's one of the co-founders of the Jacksonville Military Veterans Coalition, and tomorrow's the big day for those guys. Bill, how you doing, man?
If it was any better, it might not be legal, Frank.
Yeah.
I'm standing on the course right now and looking down 16th fairway right outside the Patriots Outpost. Course is in pristine shape. The weather's perfect. Just too good to even talk about.
Bill, by the way, Hayes, a longtime listener to the various sports radio stations, and we used to take callers all the time. Bill coined one of the great phrases of all time when Dusty Baker was managing. He said, somebody tell Dusty Baker, lose the sweatbands or get up and pinch hit. Right? I think that was it, right? Wasn't that, Bill? That's close to your quote.
That was it. Lose the sweatbands, spit out the toothpick, and get up and pinch it.
Oh, yeah, so that's exactly right. Hey, tell me a little bit about the founding of this, what you guys are so involved in. And we have Mike on all the time. Mike's a friend. I've known Mike forever. But it's kind of cool. What is the Jacksonville Military Veterans Coalition? Let's start with that.
Well, back in 2011, right towards the end of 2011, we were talking about Mike had been he was at Deutsche Bank at the time, and he was in a group called Veterans on Wall Street, which Deutsche Bank, of course, being headquartered in New York. And he said we needed to do something in Jacksonville that was similar because we had such a huge veterans presence. So we got together and founded this coalition. It's a public-private partnership between the city of Jacksonville. And at first, it was only 7 organizations. We're now up over 500. And then we decided we really need a signature event so that we can say, here's what we're all about. We're all about getting jobs for veterans, but how do we prove that? So we decided to have a job fair. Kathy Hurlbert, I know a very good friend of yours, offered us the space at the TPC in the Patriots Outpost tent. And Matt Toohey, another good friend, was kind enough to volunteer me to run it. He said, Bill knows how to run job fairs. I'd never done anything of the sort, of course. And this is our 14th year.
And it's pretty amazing stuff. The overview quickly: 10-2 tomorrow in the Patriots Outpost tent. And tell me what you're looking for from people military men that could, or women that could be looking for a job.
Well, it's not just military men and women, Frank. It's anybody who's ever had a relative that served. So it's we try to cast the net wide for people who need jobs in Jacksonville that have supported the military in any way. Not everybody has served. So some people, their uncle served or their husband or something like that. So, but what they need to do is come looking professional, professionally casual. They don't have to wear a suit or anything. But they can, because there's going to be professional headshots offered for free. Optum is kind enough to set that up every year. They bring in a photographer who's got studio lighting, and they bring the resumes. Sometimes people aren't real confident in how their resumes look. So we'll have counseling for how to spruce it up, how to clean things up, how to translate their military service into civilian skills so that they are more attractive to civilian organizations.
And Bill, it's Hays Carlyon. Great to talk with you. It's free, so come out and give us an idea of some of the companies that'll be participating.
Well, we have international, national, and local companies. So we have, of course, Morgan Stanley, Optum, and Comcast Business. We also have big companies like Boeing, JEA, and a lot of local companies, the city of Jacksonville. We have many law enforcement organizations that'll be here because they are very attuned to how well veterans do in an organized structure and how well they do in just a civilian job. So JSO will be here, JFRD, Tallahassee Sheriff, St. John Sheriff. We've in the beginning, when we first started it, not everybody was certain about coming out to do a job fair like this. And now we actually, we're limited by space. So we always have more people interested in being part of it than we actually have space for. So it's kind of a good problem to have.
Bill, I got to believe if it's your 14th one, it's had to be an overwhelming success, right? I mean, this is the 14th time you've done it. Are there success stories? Are there stories of people that are still at the companies where they started many, many years later? You certainly have heard back from some of those folks, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had a couple instances where companies came in and said, we need people, and they made contingent hiring decisions on the spot. So they offered them a job on the spot, pending their background checks and everything. But we've had many successes. We had one guy who got out of the military and then worked for Mike Fleming at Deutsche Bank, then got a job with UPS at this job fair, and then came back with UPS for many years as one of their representatives to hire more veterans at UPS. So it's just been a tremendous environment. Everybody that comes is glad they came, both the organizations and the people that come for jobs. So I consider it a success, but I may be a little biased.
Mm-hmm. And again, 10-2 tomorrow. Give us again the Patriots Outpost tent. Where kind of is that on the where should people park? The whole deal.
Okay, well, you can park either at the general parking area, and then we have shuttles that run. And there's also going to be parking. I think they renamed it. I think this year it's Lot 6. You come in through the main Sawgrass entrance. But either way, either place, there will be shuttles running from the parking lot. Parking is free, so there's no charge for anything tomorrow. Everything that the veterans don't have to come with a nickel in their pocket, just their resume and a good attitude. The 16th tee box is right next to the Patriots Outpost tent. So if they have any familiarity with the course, or if they see a map, that's where the Patriots Outpost is.
Yeah, and 16T is very easy to get to. It's almost near the clubhouse and where a lot of the stuff is. It's not far away. One more time. You told them where to park, and don't bring anything. It's from 10-2. Is there a time they should get there? You talked a little bit about you don't have to wear a suit, but maybe. I guess that depends on what they're trying to accomplish, Bill. I mean, if you want headshots and you want to build your resume, maybe you do. Take us through kind of that thinking, if you would.
Yeah, I mean, if you come and you're dressed, you should be dressed professionally. I mean, but we've had guys come right from a job where they're wearing, laboring clothes but they come and they're really interested in finding a new job, finding a better, kind of showing their skills in a better way. We do have people that come in full suits. Military guys are known to dress up. So we just recommend business professional. It doesn't have to be full suit, but they're welcome to do that if they're going to do the headshots. The best thing is, come looking sharp and ready to talk to people who may hire you. So have a good attitude, be clear with your speech, make sure that, you have an idea, even if you don't have an idea what company you want to work for, how you want to represent yourself. You want to be clear in your communications. You want to look people in the eye. And that's one thing that the military does teach you, how to interact with other people that you may not necessarily have ever met before.
All right. So it's the 14th annual Veteran Job Fair. It's at the Players. Again, military outpost near the 16th tee. It's from 10 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. Parking's easy. It is over 300 folks will be there. 300 that are seeking jobs.
We traditionally get between 300 and 400, and we've heard a lot of feedback this year that we may get even more than that. So we're hoping to break 500, but we're just here to help everybody. So anybody who wants to come is welcome, and I'm looking forward to seeing everyone tomorrow. Yeah,
Bill, it's a great thing you guys do, and I mean that sincerely. Bill's one of the co-founders of this Jacksonville Military Veterans Coalition. Bill, I've known you a long time, brother, and I appreciate you doing this for our military, and good luck tomorrow. We appreciate you joining us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks, Hays. Thanks, Frank.
Thank you.
Okay, Bill. Thank you very much. Bill Hickey, and very involved, really good guy. I've known Bill a long time. Bill, by the way, went to high school. He's from Philadelphia area. Bill went to high school with our mutual friend Greg Brown, who's now the play-by-play voice of the Pirates.
Oh, nice.
So every time I see Greg, when I go up, how's Bill? They see each other at reunions and whatnot. So kind of a cool story. So he's known Greg a long time, and he's a really good guy. And you know how joyous it is for us to have Mike Fleming in when Mike comes in here. Mike, because he spent all those years in the military. So we certainly do appreciate Bill. We certainly appreciate Mike, and they do that. Let me. This is my one very quick aside, and I won't belabor it. But if you have a chance to hire someone that's associated with the military, if you have a chance to help somebody in the military kind of reestablish themselves and get a bit of a reboot, it's one of the coolest things you can do. And you should never lose sight of what the military does for us and continues to do for us, and how important it is for them to protect our safety and protect our freedoms. I know that sounds corny and canned, and you hear a lot of broadcasters say that stuff. I try not to belabor it, and I won't belabor it, but I do think it's freaking real. And I know we've all known, if you've been around long enough, and I've been around a long time, you've bumped into people associated with the military, sometimes former members of the military, that are having trouble finding their footing. That's why I want to have Mike on so often. That's why I enjoyed having Bill on now. If there's an opportunity to help someone that has helped you and me and us in so many ways that we'll never see, please take that step. I think it's very important.
Without a doubt. Very well said.
Yeah, so we appreciate that very much. Let's take a break. Let's talk some college basketball. That's after this. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Your home for Gators Hoops is 1010XL.
The final game of the regular season gives us two top 10 teams in the SEC. Fifth-ranked Florida and Ole Miss. Saturday at 6 on 1010XL.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie. If you have a sweet tooth like me, the sweetest desserts in town come from Spoonful Bakery. Spoonful is an online bakery. They deliver boxes of assorted desserts right to your home or office. They're so good, and they make for great gifts for friends or clients. And if you want custom orders, wedding cakes or birthday cakes, or catered desserts for an event, they are the best. Log on to spoonful-bakery.com or call them at 904-515-4984. That's Spoonful Bakery for the sweetest desserts in town.
Pick it here for Bow 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bow 9. Visit Bow 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bow 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. I've heard people selling diamonds saying they have high-quality diamonds at rock-bottom prices. Can that happen?
Frank, that'd be like a Mercedes dealer saying they sold at the same price as a Yugo. That just doesn't happen in any industry, and people who believe it are always the ones looking for something too good to be true, and they normally find out later it was. In diamonds, when you talk about higher quality diamonds with credible diamond grading reports from GIA, AGS, or Forevermark, the prices are higher, but so is the quality and value. Now, for a customer to understand that, they have to try to learn things like going to the internet, but they're going to get confused because they don't have an expert to ask questions to. The best way to get answers is to come in one of our stores and ask one of our professionals what those questions are and have them explain real diamonds to you. The result will be you'll understand more about a diamond's quality, price, and value by coming in.
Underwood Jewelers in San Marco, in Avondale, and at the shops of Ponte Vedra.
I'm Chris Campione. Auto accidents can leave you feeling lost and overwhelmed. But at Campione Law, we're here to guide you with a personal touch through every step of the process. We don't get paid unless you get paid. CampioneLaw.com.
Count on Campione, Campione Law.
Big names, new jerseys.
To me, the most important aspect of winning is chemistry.
Follow the free agent frenzy. Built by Superior Fence and Rail and Roland Leash Plumbing. Tune up the off-season with AA Automotive and 1010XL.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. What's better than beer? Cold beer. Put your company logo on a custom koozie. Check them out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
Hey, this is David with Royal Pest Services. The fact that we've been bundled up the past month gave us an idea. Let's bundle up also with our Centricon and Pest Control Bundle, starting at $349. Visit RoyalPestServices.com for your free inspection.
Home is where your story begins. And at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, we're here to make it the healthiest, most comfortable place it could be. Whether it's fresh, clean air, dependable plumbing, or reliable power, we take care of it all. From routine maintenance to state-of-the-art solutions, Donovan keeps your home running smoothly. Because at Donovan, we believe your home isn't just where you live, it's where your health meets comfort. Call Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing at 904-270-COOL or visit us online. Let's make your home healthier, safer, and better together.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now back to a Big Chief Tire Friday on The Frangie Show. Big Chief Tire. Visit BigChiefService.com.
Frangie and Carlyon with you. La Selva with you as well. Thanks to our friends from Big Chief Tire Company with 5 locations on the First Coast. Man, they're good folks. Really love them. Really love dealing with them. Again, oil changes or any automotive service, really. If you're getting that thing taken care of, alignments, brakes, and, of course, if you need tires, they deal with all those different brands. They'll put you in the right one. I really try. You got to trust your tires, man. You got to trust your automobile. You want to get that thing right. They do a great job. My friends at Big Chief Tire Company. Some college basketball talk. It looks like the Seminoles are closing in on Luke Laux as their new head coach. Interesting. Really respected guy, Hays, in the basketball world, but really young, 34 years old. I mean, that is a a young head coach, but very respected. Played at Florida State. Kind of knows where the bodies are buried, if you will. I don't know much about him. I do know he's an assistant in the NFL, assistant in the NBA, he's assistant with the Sacramento Kings now. But I will say this. It is a unique job. It is a football school. It is a very clear football school. Yet you're having to compete in what usually, not this year, but is a very, very competitive basketball conference. Make no mistake about it. The league's down this year, but I can promise you Duke's good. But North Carolina and Louisville and Syracuse and NC State and Wake, NC State's 1 year removed from a Final Four. They're not going to be down long. So it's going to be a very good league. and FSU, a football school, is going to have to compete in this very good basketball league, which it has from time to time. So the fact that Luke Laux kind of gets all that he understands all that, makes some sense. It'll be interesting to see. But apparently FSU is going to announce Luke Laux as its next basketball coach after the very long tenure of Leonard Hamilton.
Yeah, he's 34 years old. He played at FSU under Hamilton from 2008 through 12. He's never been a head coach, so that's a little bit, I'd say, of a concern considering there's 357 D1 college basketball programs. I'm a little surprised that there wasn't anyone in that group that they felt would be a great fit for them. So he's never been a head coach, and he's never coached in college. Now, that line has never been thinner with NIL and revenue sharing and things like that. So the recruiting component may not be as big a detriment as it might have been with somebody who's not only never been a head coach, but never coached at the collegiate level. But yeah, I mean, obviously his work in the NBA, that's going to get him in a lot of doors in terms of that experience as an assistant. The Kings are 32-29, so a respectable club. And I think they're like 9th in the West, right? They're in like the play-in kind of area when you look at the standings. So, obviously it's energy, and we'll see, how it goes, and it's hard to predict.
Yeah.
It's, but just because there's no real collegiate resume and there's no head coaching resume.
Here's what I'll tell you. I have no idea how he'll do, but I'll tell you this. He was clearly their guy. I was getting texts, tweets a month ago when the minute Leonard Hamilton stepped down, when I suggested Dennis Gates, the very successful Missouri coach who had been a longtime assistant and was kind of told the buyout's going to be too extensive. Keep an eye on Luke Laux. So it's clear people in the know at FSU had an eye on this guy anyway for a long time. And to your point, there's 300 and however many Division I. There's a whole bunch of coaches at Northern Illinois and Western Michigan and Samford and KC Omaha that would have taken this ACC job in a minute, but they locked in on this guy. So they may be wrong, they may be right, but it's pretty clear this was their guy. It's pretty clear that this was for whatever reason that Michael Alford locked in on Luke Laux. So
he's an alum, so if he's successful, you probably don't have to worry about losing him.
Right.
Obviously, he's going to have a ton of passion. To your point, he's going to already know the building, the resources, the program. That all is helpful. It's just going to come down to, is he ready?
Yeah,
and that's
and is he good? Yeah,
right.
That's the every time you hire a coach, you hope he's good. Let me rephrase, he's good. Is he going to be good as a head coach? So, but again, I'll say this: it looks pretty clear that was their guy. It seems like that was their guy.
I mean, I haven't even heard anybody else that they've talked to.
Well, Charlton Young, who's an assistant at Missouri, I've heard that name. When I threw out the name Dennis Gates, I heard people say again what I told you. I saw on Twitter and responded to me. The buyout's too high, but I also heard people say he probably wouldn't leave Missouri. I mean, Missouri's a good program. Missouri is a better basketball program than a lot of the Southern football schools, even when they get good at basketball. It's just it's basketball. It's a basketball first school, and under Norm Stewart for all those years, they had a lot of basketball success. So I heard Charlton Young, the assistant there, but I agree with you. You haven't heard a lot of names, have you? It's not like you heard this name, and I don't pretend to follow it closely either. If I was on Florida State message boards, I probably would be seeing names, and I'm not. So, but you know, certainly in the non-Florida State atmosphere or universe, you haven't heard a lot of names.
No, and you look at how Miami handled their search. They go and hire Jay Lucas, who's a top Duke assistant.
Right.
Well, that makes sense in the fact he's a young guy too. I don't believe Jay Lucas has ever been a head coach anywhere. But at least he knows the league. He's working in the college realm. So anyway, if I had to guess, if one's going to be right and one's going to be wrong, I'd say Miami's going to be right and Florida State's going to be wrong. But who knows? Maybe they'll both be great. Maybe they'll both be a disaster. But I'm surprised that there wasn't there. I mean, again, he's an alum. They may love everything about him. I'm sure they do. I am surprised they went with somebody who has never been a head coach and never worked in the college realm.
Yeah, so you good point about Jay Lucas, by the way. He was a former Gator that was never very good.
Right.
Remember that? I mean,
he's a young guy too. I mean, he may not even be 34. It doesn't feel like it was
36.
He's 36. Okay.
Yeah, but he went to Florida, and just nothing ever happened there. He played. Did he play 1 year or 2 years at Florida?
I feel like just one. But he was a nice prospect. He was, I want to say, like a high 4-star.
McDonald's All-American.
Oh, was
he?
He
was a McDonald's All-American, went to Florida. He did average 8 points and 2 assists, and then after 1 year transferred to Texas. So he finished up his career at Texas. So he went to Florida 1 year, then finished up. And he was at Florida the 07-08 season, and then he moved on and finished his career at Texas, was undrafted. So, but yeah, a highly regarded assistant coach on that great Duke program. So is it Jay or Jai? Is it Jay? It's Jai.
I think it's Jay. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll know soon enough. So,
yeah.
But Lucas is headed to Miami. Laux is headed to Florida State. And it'll be, and look, the good thing is it's the same year, both taking over for 70 plus coaching in their 70s, been there a long time, in the same league. We will see who did better. You know, I mean, it's the same year. They're going in the same time. And
Miami is 6-24 this year, 2-17 in league play. Florida State 16-14, 7-12 in league play. So Florida State seemingly a little bit ahead. They're at least kind of below average. Miami is the worst team in the ACC.
But both teams are going to have totally different teams.
Oh, sure.
I mean, in the portal era, nobody of note will be back for either of these teams. Usually, it's the way it is. So, particularly with a new coach. So,
it is Jay, by the way.
It is Jay,
according to our friend Joe Zagacki.
Okay, so it is Jay Lucas. All right, so not Jay Lucas. So very good. All right, so Jay Lucas will be the new Miami coach. Luke Laux will be the brand new Florida State
if Golden left, this is how I would frame it. Like if Todd Golden left to take whatever job after in a few weeks, whenever this runs over, I wouldn't want Florida to go hire an assistant with Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, an NBA assistant.
That had never coached in college. Like I obviously you'd want a sitting head coach, ideally.
Right.
But in college. But if I couldn't get that, then I think I would look at like an Auburn assistant, Alabama assistant, maybe a Tennessee assistant, although I'd prefer more of an offensive-minded head coach, and they're very defensive.
But I get your point.
But that more than like it just seems like, again, he's an alum, and that obviously carried the day here.
Right.
But it seems like a background that there's going to be a pretty big learning curve.
Well, here's the deal. He's an alum. That was a big part of it. But the bigger part of it to me was, again, there's 250 lower level Division I head coaches, almost all of whom would have taken this job.
Right.
So
like if you're the Lipscomb coach,
right.
And I know nothing about him. Obviously you're about to go to the NCAA. You're one win away from the NCAA tournament.
So
you're probably taking the Florida State job.
Correct. So the fact that there's 250 of those guys, and they pick this guy, means they really like, whether right or not, we'll see, which means they really like this guy. By the way, you can also say the same thing about Miami. There's 250 head coaches that Miami could have hired, and they also hired an assistant. Now, to your point, he's in the league and he's in college.
And he's at Duke.
Yeah, and he's, no
question. I mean, he'll know how to recruit 5 stars
that's right.
Immediately.
Yeah, but the point is, they both must have really liked their guys. They didn't settle. Yeah, I don't get the sense that FSU settled. I get the sense that FSU and Miami both said,
this is our top target.
This is our top target, and so we'll see what winds up happening with those two top targets. Florida plays Ole Miss tomorrow, senior night. What's your expectation for the feel, the vibe, the night, all of it?
I mean, I think all that will be extraordinary in terms of saying goodbye to Walter Clayton Jr. and Will Richard and Elijah Martin. So, I mean, I think definitely electric. 6 o'clock. That's a good start time. It gives the fans plenty of time to have some cocktails, but you're also not, staggering drunk walking into the building at night for a 9 o'clock tip. And so, I think it'll be rowdy, and Ole Miss is a really well-coached team. I mean, there's talk that Chris Beard is maybe going to end up at Indiana. Ole Miss is safely in, which in this circumstance I think helps Florida because it should be an opponent that gets their attention, but it's not an opponent that is going into this game saying we have got to have this or we are going to go to the NIT. So Ole Miss has already won 21 games. They're 10-7 in the SEC, so they're in. But I expect Florida to play really well. I mean, I think that I kind of get a sense that they've sort of crystallized what they want to be. I think ideally they would have done it a touch earlier, but they couldn't because of the Condon injury. But now that he's back and the rust is off, what they did to Alabama the other night is how they need to play. They need to play where 80% of their offensive possessions are geared towards a Clayton shot or a Condon shot. And if they play through Clayton and Condon, like they did so well the other night when those two combined for 49 points, then with their supplemental pieces, they will be very, very, very difficult to stop. And so I would anticipate that being the plan is Clayton and Condon are the primary guys. And then between Martin and Richard and Houck and Aberdeen and Han-Logden and Chinlelu, you hope that of those 6, 2 to 3 have nice games for you. Maybe you get something out of Klavzar. Maybe you hit a 3, which really lifts the building when he hits those. But, I mean, I think the matchup favors Florida. They're coming off a brilliant rebounding game. Ole Miss is minus 4.2 is a rebounding team. So it's something that they do not do well at all. Florida is plus 8.3. And Frank, the point you mentioned the other day, they were plus 15 against Alabama, who's an excellent rebounding team. So I think Beard will have some things for them. Ole Miss won the last meeting 103-85, but I think Florida comfortable. It could be Florida in a total laugher since Ole Miss really doesn't need the game one way or another. But I'll say that it's Florida by 13.
Yeah, I think Florida will beat Ole Miss for a myriad of reasons. Number one, I think they're better. Number two, this won't be an asleep at the wheel game. It is senior night. It's the last chance those 3 guards are ever going to play on that floor. It's the last time they'll ever be in that locker room. It's the last time they'll ever dress in that locker room. It's the last time they'll ever come out for pregame. It's the last time they'll hear Tom Petty. It's the last time for those 3 seniors. That matters. Now, it didn't matter as much to Alabama. It didn't help Alabama the other night, but I think it's going to really matter for those guys. So I think that's part of it. And know this, too. We're now to the point that there is significance in every game they play because every game they play is closer, gets them closer to that number 1 seed. The number 1 seed matters. If you go back and look at Final Fours over the last 20 years, of the last 20 years of Final Fours, meaning the last 80 teams to advance to the Final Four, Hays, I'll bet you close to half of them are 1 seeds, if not more. Do you agree with that? Of the last,
I would guess it's more
or more.
It might be like 65%.
It might be of the last 80 teams that went to a Final Four, the last 20 years. I'll bet you that number. I'll bet 1 seeds are a higher percentage even than you might think. So that 1 seed really matters. It matters, number one, because you play worse teams. But there's something different about wearing the white uniform the whole time until you get to the Final Four. There's something different about the swagger. I've seen 1 seeds, and they carry themselves differently than the other teams do. Everybody fears them differently. There's almost like it's a bar fight, and you've already gotten the first one in because the guy's afraid to fight you. That's what it is. So every game they play now will be leaning. Will get them closer to that 1 seed. I think today they're a 1 seed. I think they are. I think they're the 4th 1 seed. I think the 4 1 seeds are Auburn, Houston, Duke, and Florida. If it was today, if they shut it all down and had selection Sunday tonight on a Friday night, I think they're a 1 seed.
They're definitely a 1 seed today.
Yeah. I think if you beat Ole Miss, as expected,
it's locked in.
Yeah, you would think, and then I think you're going to play a game you're probably going to win on Friday night in the SEC tournament, and then I don't think it matters. So I think win today, and so there's significance every time you play. It's kind of funny if you're in the tournament. See, for Ole Miss, for instance, there's really not a whole lot of significance. They're in the tournament.
Correct. They're like in the 8-9 range.
Yeah.
Maybe 7.
That's right.
That's what they're playing for.
So can they move to 6? Can they slip to 10? Maybe. But for the most part, these teams at the top, the teams that games like this have the most significance for the bubble teams.
Right.
The team that's out, there's no significance. The team that is in the middle of the pack, there's no significance. The bubble teams are the ones that this game matters the most to. But right after that is the teams inching toward a really good seed, and Florida's in that category. So the game matters. The game really, and they know that is not lost on them. They want that number 1 seed. They want to wear that. Again, if you're in the number 1 seed, you wear that white uniform the entire time you're in that tournament until the Final Four. And by the way, you might wear it in the Final Four too. If you're playing somebody that's not a 1 seed, you keep wearing it. But I've heard coaches say, when you're a 1 seed and you know you're putting on that white uniform and the other guy plays you, knows you've got that white uniform on, there's something different about it. I really believe that.
Yeah, and it would just be so gargantuan for Florida to, with this basically new coach. I mean, he's in his 3rd year.
Newish.
But yeah, I mean, I still think it's a relatively new build, particularly since Todd Golden, no one really knew who he was when he got to Florida. I mean, he was at San Francisco and had gotten to an NCAA tournament but lost, and so it's huge for Florida and you're in the West, which is where I think they're going to be. It really helps you from a branding standpoint out there. It's going to make it easier to get portal kids. You're probably not getting high school kids from California, but certainly in the portal, it's 4 or 5 days where you're sort of the star of the show out there. And, I think in looking at it, absolutely, Todd Golden hasn't shied away from it. I mean, he's been saying for the last 2 or 3 weeks, we're going after a 1 seed. And here they are. I think they're on the precipice of it. I think they're 1 win away because the committee, to me, the tournaments, they rarely greatly change things. Like it seems like wherever you were going into the tournament, unless you do something radical, it's really not going to change. And Ole Miss is a quad 1 for Florida. So if they win this game, I think even if they were to get upset in the Friday quarterfinal to a team that would be, a pretty decent team on a neutral court, I don't think that would derail them. So I think they're 1 win away. I did mention the last meeting was 103-85. Of course, that was last season. That is not this season.
Right.
This is the only meeting between Florida and Ole Miss. And ironically, that meeting occurred on January 10th of 2024. So these teams have not played in 14 months.
Right.
And you think of all the growth Florida has had. I mean, when you think about it in general, knock on wood, everything has gone right for Florida. They needed Walter Clayton to be able to be the primary ball handler and distributor. He's done that and done a fantastic job with it.
And there was some question as how that would go.
Absolutely. Golden said today it's something that, when people are considering All-American, they should really consider that because he's had to totally take on a different role than last year, and he's been excellent at it, which is true. So Clayton, no problem with a different responsibility. Hauk, Condon, Aberdeen, huge leaps forward as players. Will Richard has made a big step forward in his final year as a player. Elijah Martin in the portal, huge check mark. I mean, he's not been tremendous, but he's been very good for Florida.
Been everything. He and Chinyelu both been everything they needed.
Right.
They were both everything you
needed. It's just rare that literally every move they made has worked, and the players that were in the program developing have taken collective huge leaps forward this year.
Yeah, even Sam Alexis wasn't a failure. The problem was there's just too many good players for him to get any minutes anymore.
Absolutely.
It'll be fun to watch them. We'll take a break. Let's get back to the NFL. Pete Prisco joins us after this. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Happy New Year from everyone at Nimnick Chevrolet. Now look, as they begin 2025, Nimnick is so excited to offer even more choices and better prices for you, ensuring your car buying experience is second to none. And if you're wondering where to go for a better buying experience, it's simple. Nobody but Nimnick. So here's to another year of driving forward together. And don't forget now, in this new year means new truck time at Nimnick Chevrolet. This month, you can save up to $12,000 off a new Silverado. Unlike most dealerships, Nimnick Chevrolet has the largest inventory on the ground, ready for you to explore. And with their extensive selection, you're sure to find the perfect truck at Nimnick. Available now, the all-new Silverado EV, designed to go the distance. It boasts 440 miles of range, more standard range than any competitor, and ask about a terrific low rate as well. So who's got more new Silverados at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnick Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
In the jungle, the only way a lion survives, not by acting like a king,
1010XL.
I'm Holt Harrell with Harrell & Harrell. Choosing a law firm after an accident is an important decision. So how do you decide? With so many messages on air, I know it can all sound the same. At Harrell & Harrell, we believe what sets us apart is our commitment to you. When you've been injured in an accident, you need help from someone you know, someone you can trust. Harrell & Harrell, a name you know, a name you trust. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Offices, Jacksonville.
Get this thing unwrapped here.
Praz, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval?
That's right, man. I really identify with Duval.
You live in St. John's County, knucklehead.
I mean the Duval sub, the Daily Stash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, you know, like me. I'm sure there's a Daily Stash sub that sums you up.
The boss.
Because, of course,
oven roasted beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me.
That's just not true.
What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it," and said, "A boss for a boss."
Well, no matter who you are, there is a Daily Stash sandwich or sub for you.
Go find yours. They may even make you a boss.
I'm sure they will, because it is Daily Stash.
Where more is better.
And you got that right.
Spring and summer are coming. Will your pool deck be ready? Don't Slip Deck Coatings of Jacksonville has you covered. Their multi-layered slip-resistant coatings come in a variety of colors, adding safety, durability, and style to your outdoor spaces. Plus, they offer slip-resistant solutions for inside your home, too. Long-lasting, affordable, and built to protect your family. Don't wait. Call today for a free quote. 904-466-1839. And follow Don't Slip Jacks on Facebook and Instagram.
Out with the old, in with the organized. Mia here for my friends at Closets by Design. Freshen up your home this spring with a custom organization solution. For a limited time, take advantage of our spring special and enjoy exclusive savings on closets, garages, home offices, and more. That's 40% off with an additional 50% off with 12-month special financing through April. Spring on this deal before it's gone. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation with Closets by Design.
A lot goes into taking care of your property. You need equipment with more reliability and versatility built in, like Kubota BX and L Series compact tractors to get the job done right, Z Series mowers that deliver a quality cut, and Sidekick utility vehicles where durability meets speed. Visit Coastal Equipment for a demo today.
Greater power for the great outdoors. Coastal Equipment.
Coastal Equipment on New Kings Road and in McClenny.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
The Mr. Chubby's Bracket Challenge is coming. Following Selection Sunday, go to 1010XL.com, print your bracket, and bring it to any Mr. Chubby's Wings during Live Madness games. Get a free Miller Lite for every game you pick right. Top prize, Saturday passes to Welcome to Rockville.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
What could you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold hard cash, so you can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, often no appraisals. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day, so act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. Get the money you need for anything at 904-999-1508 or just go to LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
I'm Max Fink here with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. Jamal Mosley was distraught at the podium again last night after the Magic lost a heartbreaking one-possession game for the third game in a row. Even with their entire starting five scoring double figures, they couldn't get past the Bulls with Kobe White scoring 44. Coach Mosley wants to see a better focus and execution of his defense, knowing the standard they can play to.
I think we got to sit down and lock in and understand exactly who we're guarding and how they're guarding. Kobe White was able to turn the corner, second chance points, a couple hustle plays, 3 offensive rebounds in a row on one possession, and I think that gives up to 3. Those are deflating possessions that we've just got to come away with. I think that's a big portion of this game right now, but I think you give up 13 offensive rebounds, it becomes deflating to your defense when you do get the initial stop.
It's 70 degrees at 5:01. Time and Temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Time for all things Jaguars and NFL with Pete Prisco. The Prisco Report, presented by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles.
Showtime.
On the Frangie Show.
Fine, let's bring in Pete Prisco, my buddy from CBSSports.com. As always, it is brought to you by Showtime. You know by now, Showtime is the place to go. If you are a fan of anybody, they've got your team there. I can promise you that. They do such a great job. Big card shop, the best one in town. It's located on Phillips Highway at the end of Shad Road, and you can see them on the social channels as well. But I'm telling you, if you are a fan of a team, there is memorabilia there for your team that you can't believe. So head to Showtime today. Pete joins us now. Pete, how you doing, buddy?
Good. What's up, guys? How are you?
We are good. Hey, what do you make of the Jaguars cutting so many players? Ingram cut. Obviously, Christian Kirk cut. Mitch Morse has decided to retire. And then Darby and Reynolds and Duvernay and the rest. What did you make of the whole week, the whole last couple of days, Pete?
Well, they weren't very good last year, and so why not make the changes? I have no problem with it. I'll be honest with you. I think it's time to start anew. It's time to get rid of the lingering effects of the past regime and move on. And look, Evan Ingram and Christian Kirk are 2 pros. They're great guys. They're pros. They handle their business well. But, look, you look at Ingram's numbers, the yards per catch way down. You look at Kirk, the money for a guy who's been hurt, that's concerning. So I think it was, Darby was benched. That was an easy one. Morse retired. Duvernay, you know why they signed Duvernay. They thought they were going to be smarter than everybody when it came to the kick returns and have 2 kick returners. It didn't quite work out that way. So I think this is this new regime, this new staff saying, hey, you know what? We weren't any good last year. We're going to try and make changes to be better moving forward. And so I don't mind it. I know a lot of people were surprised. I wasn't, and I don't mind it at all.
What do you think the Jaguars should do in the next 3 or 4 days as, free agency gets going and also the potential of maybe a trade for a veteran that's out there?
Well, I think if you talk about trading for a guy like DK Metcalf, I wouldn't do it. I think when you look at that from that standpoint, you're trading for him, and then you're going to have to pay him, $30 million a year. I just don't think it's worth it. I think he's a good receiver. I don't think he's a great receiver. I think as far as free agency, try and fix the spots where you have problems. We talk about the center position. We talk about the right guard spot. We talk about the interior of the defensive line. Get a cornerback. Safety. I think when you look at those positions, it's clear they have problems there. So try and address them. I don't necessarily think you have to go sign a 32-year-old, 31-year-old, 30-year-old guy and try and fill it. But you have to be able to bring in bodies that can come in there and compete and probably start for you next year.
Hays' point at the top of our program, and I tend to agree with it, is he thinks you're going to see quantity over quality. Hays, I think that was your phrase. I think rather than a big blockbuster name that's going to wow everybody, you're going to see 6, 7, 8 guys, all of whom, to your point, Pete, can compete for starting jobs, but not necessarily the biggest names in free agency. What do you expect?
I absolutely expect that same thing. And it's the right approach because whoever you bring in, if you bring a mega guy in and then you bring 2 or 3 other guys behind him, if the mega guy doesn't work out, then you got major problems.
That's right.
If you bring in a bunch of guys at lesser deals and they start next year and they're contributors, well, you can also go into the draft. You have 19 picks in the next 2 years with the idea that you're going to replace them in the year or two. And so I think that's the way you handle it. That's the way I always thought free agency should be handled. I think sometimes the numbers get out of whack with these guys, and you end up paying the price for it. So, be smart. And I think Gladstone is going to be smart with it. I think he's been around it. He's seen it a bunch of different ways with the Rams. And I think he's going to be smart with his team. I think they're going to be smart adding the right guys. And again, when guys are added, you probably get, like, I look down my list of guys, my top 100, and I go, okay, well, 77, he'd be a good ad. It's not going to cost you. I don't even know who that is on my list right now, but he's not going to cost you a lot of money. And if he doesn't work out, it's not going to break the bank on you. And I think that's what Jacksonville is right now. And then you got all those picks in the draft. Go use those to pick the guys that are going to be around for the next 3 or 4 years.
What's your feel right now on the 5th pick?
They better hope the quarterbacks go. That's the way I feel about it. I think when you look at it, there's a couple different things at play. If the quarterbacks get drafted, then they're going to have a pick of a guy like Graham, a guy like Hunter. Somebody will be there. Carter. God, that would be unreal if he were there. But if the quarterbacks don't go, they could be in no man's land at that spot. And in that scenario, somebody might want to go back up and get the quarterbacks, then you trade down and get extra picks. So I think that's kind of where they are. If they're forced to pick there and Graham and Hunter and Carter are off the board, then I think you have some problems because I don't, we look at some of the receivers, depending on what they do in free agency. If you look at some of the receivers, what is McMillan going to run? I mean, teams I've talked to around the league, he talked to them and he said, you know what he said to him? He said, next time you see me is when you're going to hear my name called. Well, you got to go to now I hear people are pushing him to work out at his pro day, and his agent, I think, is going to step in. You got to have a 40 time on that guy. If he ran 4.8, you're not going to pick him in the top 10. If he runs 4.4, I think that opens your eyes and you say, hey, he's a hell of an athlete and a big physical kid. Then that's different. So I think he needs to run. I think he ultimately will run. But I think Jacksonville could be in trouble there at 5 if the quarterbacks don't go in the first 4 picks.
Yeah, I think Pete, if he doesn't run at all, I told Hays this the other day. Well, what you're announcing is I'm slow. I mean, if you don't run, now I'm hearing that I hear Sam you there that he's going to change his mind and run at his pro day. But if you don't run at all, then you're telling the world you're slow. Back to number 5. All right, let me ask you then. Okay. Let's assume for the sake of this conversation, and again, I rarely get into draft talk before free agency because I think free agency affects draft, who you draft. But for the sake of the conversation, okay, Cam Ward goes top 4, but Shedeur Sanders doesn't because I don't think he's going to. So Cam Ward and Carter and Hunter go, okay? And just for the sake of the conversation, Graham goes 4. Just what do you do? You said they're in some trouble, but got to pick somebody. What do you do? And you can't get out of it.
Out of there.
Or what if you can't get out of there? What if you can't get out of there? What do you do?
Well, what if that's the problem. Like if the Raiders want to move up to go get Shedeur in that scenario and move ahead of one of the teams that's also in quarterback needy, then maybe they'll go up and get him.
Right, that's right.
And that would help you. So that would be a possibility. But because if he's still on the board, somebody might want to go up and get him, and you might be able to get out of there and trade back, get extra pick or picks, and still get a player you might have taken in that spot anyway. So I think that's the ideal scenario if one of those big time players isn't there. If you're stuck, then you got to see what happens with McMillan.
Yeah,
I mean you got to see what happens with him. You got to see what happens with the rest of the defensive linemen, and you got to see what happens with the offensive linemen. I mean, if you look at the offensive linemen, and I've been doing a lot of work on them this week, there probably isn't one that's worth taking it at that spot. I'll be honest with you.
Right.
It doesn't mean they're not going to be good players. It's just you got to look at it and say, well, is Will Campbell, who has short arms and might be a good player, worth taking in that spot? And, is the kid from Missouri worth taking in that spot? And the answer to those questions is probably on the surface, no. And in fact, I think, the kid from the guard from Alabama might be the best pure lineman in the draft. He's a big mauler Booker. I've been watching him all week. He moves people around. I went back and watched him against Mason Graham, and he moved them. Graham got him one time, but a couple times he just flat out moved them off the ball. And so, but you can't take him at 5, I don't think. So I think you don't have a problem if somebody isn't there that you really like. If the 2 quarterbacks don't go and you can't trade down, you're going to have to make a tough decision.
From a league standpoint, what do you think will be the massive storyline, Monday once legal tampering opens? Who do you think is going to get the biggest deal?
I think you're going to see some funny money when it comes to the offensive linemen. Everybody's desperate with, we saw what the Eagles did. You build that line, you go push people around, makes it easier on everybody. You run the ball and makes it easier on the quarterback. And I think everybody's going to panic. And so you're going to see a run on the offensive linemen. All those guards, we've talked about a bunch of them. The guys like, Will Fries and Daniels and the centers, Dahlman, everybody. You're going to see a run on those guys early. And I think those guys are going to get a big, big money in the free, almost to the point where you look at it and you go, well, should they get that kind of money? They're good players, but they're not that kind of player. You're paying great money to good players, and that's when you get in a lot of trouble.
All right, final things. We let you go. The next time we talk to you, the Jags will have a new look to their roster, I would imagine. How many players between now and when we visit with you in a week, how many players, Pete, do you think they will have added? Are they starter level players? Where do you think our conversation's headed 7 days from now?
I think they'll add at least one starting offensive lineman, and at least one. I think they'll add, some depth on defensive line. I don't know if it'll be a starter. There might be, but they'll add one or two pieces in the secondary. I think you can count on those. You also have to look at the receiver market. And again, I know people want Metcalf and they want this guy and, go get Devontae Adams. That's not them right now. So you got to look at the lesser receivers. I think they might add maybe one or two of those guys if they can to try and get some competition in there. And then you got to hope like heck that Gabe Davis is in shape next year. I mean, he was hurt last year, was out of shape. And if he can, he's stuck on the roster based on that contract. So you got to hope you can get something out of him. And then draft a guy. So I think, look, I don't think they're that far off, to be honest with you, from competing for that division title. They gotta get starters at on the offensive line, maybe one on the defensive line, and one or two in the secondary and receivers from the draft and free agency, and then they're able to go compete, I think.
Pete Prisco from CBSSports.com. Legal tampering starts in 3 days. It'll be fun to watch.
And how about your Florida Panthers? What a blockbuster trade.
Marshawn. We get Marshawn, man.
Is he good? Is he good?
Yeah, he's
a good
very
player?
good. He's a little sniper, so you get more snipers. They lead the league in snipers on that team.
Okay. Where,
yes.
Are they good again, the Panthers?
2.0. Yes, it's
Okay.
2.0. They're going to go win the cup again. I can't wait.
Okay, and this guy they got, where's he come from? Where's he good?
Boston.
He's Boston.
Is he from Russia? Is he from Russia or Canada or anywhere or where?
Yeah, no, he's 37, Frank.
Okay.
And he's banged up right now, but he'll be ready for the playoffs, and that's all that matters right now. Get ready for the playoffs.
What's his name again?
Brad Marchand.
Yeah, Marchand. Okay, now I know. Marchand's leading the Panthers to the Cup. I don't have the words to tell you how excited that makes me. I just
but
can't
the
get
best
there.
part about that is him and last year in the playoffs, him and Sam Bennett got into it big time, and now they're going to be line mates. How about that?
How about that? Not only teammates, line mates.
Line mates.
Love it.
Yes.
Love it. Pete, thanks, buddy. We appreciate it.
All right, guys. Take care.
Pete Prisco from CBSSports.com. Always brought to you by Showtime. Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles, the best collectible store in Jacksonville. I guarantee you that. It's on Phillips. It's a big open store, great people in there, and they've got more memorabilia than you can imagine. I don't care what team it is you root for. They've got it. It's Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles. Hays has headlines after this. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
From pit road to victory lane.
Checkered flag is in the air.
This Sunday at Phoenix, NASCAR is revved up by the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234. From Jacksonville's NASCAR station, 1010XL.
Lauren Brooks here. At Hodges Mazda, they are proud of their solid reputation in the Jacksonville community. As your hometown Mazda dealer, their high customer service standards and their huge inventory of new and used cars provide their customers a consistently first-rate car buying experience. Their professional non-commissioned sales team puts your best interests first without exception. And all new vehicle purchases include the Hodges Mazda Protection Package. Visit them online at hodgesmazda.com or stop in today to learn more and discover The Hodges Mazda difference.
Lots of jewelry stores in the town center, but only one is locally owned, Beard's Diamonds.
We're the only local jewelry store at the town center.
That's Jacksonville's John Lupo, owner of Beard's for over 4 decades.
We're entrenched in Jacksonville, Florida.
In a sea of mega chain jewelers, John says it's easy to stand out because he's not handcuffed by a corporate handbook.
I am not beholden to a corporate structure, so we've got flexibility to do whatever we can and want, and we do.
And that includes lowering prices to undercut them every day.
Quality for quality, color for color, everything the same. We should be able to beat them hands down by minimum 20%. We go overseas ourselves. We know exactly what we're buying. This isn't getting marked up in a corporate structure. We will beat anybody's price anywhere.
So before you buy anything at one of those chains, get a second opinion at locally owned Beard's Diamonds. No corporate atmosphere, no corporate rules, no corporate high markups.
We want you to come shop us and you'll see a lot better price here.
Beard's Diamonds.
Everybody gets a good deal at Beard's.
Frank Frangie here for South State Bank. South State has helped our businesses and charity grow and thrive. Whether you're expanding your operations, managing cash flow, or planning for the future, South State Bank offers forward-thinking, tailored solutions to meet your unique business needs. With expert guidance and best-in-class service, South State is here to help you move your business forward. Visit southstatebank.com or stop by your local branch today. Let South State become your partner in taking your business to the next level. That's South State Bank, member FDIC.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Frank Frangie here for Bono's Pit Barbecue. Bono's has been serving Jacksonville's best barbecue for over 75 years. And now, catch this. Bono's new limited time offer features an Atlantic fried cod platter with 2 pieces of mouth-watering fried cod and 1 southern side for $15.49, or a fried cod sandwich with 1 southern side for $12.99. You can't beat that deal. And after 1 bite, you'll be hooked. So you better hurry in. The fried cod platter right now at Bono's. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Are you an experienced chiller technician and looking for a role where your skills are truly valued? It's time to make the move to Local 234, plumbers, pipe fitters, and HVAC technicians. You'll get top pay, comprehensive health and welfare benefits for your family, and a pension that doesn't come out of your pocket. Join the team that's got your back. Local 234, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit UA234.com to send your resume today.
Equal opportunity employer.
I'm Max Fink on your Gator station. 1010XL is your pipeline to Gator Nation. Listen to the Gator Report all year round.
Freshened up by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators. 1010XL.
Go Gators!
Enhance your home with Renewal by Anderson's exclusive 31-day spring event. Experience superior craftsmanship and timeless design with buy one, get one 40% off custom replacement windows and patio doors. Enjoy the ease of 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. This offer expires March 31st. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
This is Mark Nato. My son Justin injured his hand playing baseball for JU. Southeast Orthopedic Specialist performed surgery just a few days later, and within 5 weeks, he was cleared to play in the ASUN baseball tournament. Our family has trusted Southeast Orthopedic Specialist for years. For any orthopedic injury, let Southeast Orthopedic Specialist take care of you too.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
New year, new club. This is Joe C., and I'm proud to be a member of Southampton. And with the popularity of golf, getting a tee time is tough. But with membership comes member privileges. Enjoy clubhouse dining, expanded practice area, focusing on all parts of your game. And right now, you can join with an annual commitment and get a $1,000 discount, plus $500 of Pro Shop credit. All the details are online at golfsouthampton.com or call 287-PLAY and make a tee time today at the Golf Club of Southampton.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round.
It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell & Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
All right, welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie is here. We've got JJ LaSilva. I am Hays Carlyon. Thank you to our friends at Harrell & Harrell. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, give them a call at 251-1111. Frank, by the time we turn on the mic at 4 o'clock Monday afternoon, this roster could look a whole lot different, but you think, and I agree with you, quantity probably over quality when projecting what this free agent group might look like.
Yeah, you said it before I did. You wrote a blog about it last night, and you talked about it earlier today, so I'm kind of jumping on your bandwagon on this one a little bit, not the other way around. But yeah, I do. I think when they created all this space, the $60 million, okay, obviously there's something in the works. It's either one or two just big name, are you kidding me, top of free agency, can you believe they're getting him guys? Or it's 6, 7, 8 guys, all of whom can compete for starting jobs. My gut tells me it's the latter, not the former. And I think that's, and I was thinking that today, even before I had not read your blog, and I'll never forgive myself for that. And in addition to that, I had not heard you say it. So when you said it today, I'm thinking that's exactly what I'm thinking. I think you'll see a number of guys, mid-level free agents. So we'll see. We could be wrong. They could be good. They could be preparing for a blockbuster. But I agree with you. I think it's a volume of mid-level free agents is what we're going to see in the next, starting next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
In the NFL, Washington is releasing defensive lineman Jonathan Allen, a two-time Pro Bowler. They could not find a trade partner. The 30-year-old Allen has 42 career sacks.
I think he's a terrific player. I can remember in Doug Peterson's first game here, going up there to play the Commanders. I was going to say Redskins. I think they're the Commanders by then. I think they're going up there to play the Commanders. And I can remember, Hayes, how good those two tackles were, Payne and Allen. And I think he's a really good player.
Let's get it to the NFL draft. Daniel Jeremiah updated his top 50 on NFL.com following the combine. He has Penn State edge Abdul Carter as the draft's top player, followed by Travis Hunter, Ashton Genty, Mason Graham, and Penn State tight end Tyler Warren at 5. DJ has Cam Ward, the top quarterback, at 10 overall, followed by Shedeur Sanders at 18.
Yeah, I saw the list. I think the list is pretty close. Now, again, they're not going to get drafted there because position need can sometimes trump overall value of the player. But I think that list is pretty close. Mason Graham's going to be top 5 no matter how you look at it, and that's the name that the Jaguars have an eye on.
Without a doubt, let's get it to college football. Gators defensive end Tyreek Sapp says no Gator defender will wear the number 1 jersey. He says it's an effort to eliminate assumptions and entitlements.
Yeah, I wonder if it'll hold.
Right. He did acknowledge that it might not hold.
Yeah, he's not the boss. Right. You know, I like his point. Rather than one guy being indoctrinated as the best guy, last year they gave it to Justice Boone, who wasn't very good.
Right.
He became a third. He was third string.
He's at Arkansas now.
He was third string, middle of the season. So last year they gave it to a guy he's a good guy, and he'd come back from a bad injury, but he wasn't very good. So I don't know that that'll hold. But I like the mindset is all for one for all the whole bit.
Absolutely. Let's get into college basketball. JU loses at North Alabama 78-63 in the ASUN semifinals to end their season. The Dolphins shot just 36.2% from the field. JU wrapped up its campaign 19-13. North Alabama and Lipscomb will play Sunday for the title and the automatic NCAA berth.
You know, Lipscomb needed overtime to dispatch an upstart Queens team that was trying to do what JU did last year, is come out of nowhere and all of a sudden be the team to beat or be a team that could get to the tournament. Look, JU 19 wins is a good season. 13-7 in your league is a good season. 12-6 before the tournament, and then you're 1-1 in the tournament. But JU had a good year, another good year, a bunch of good years under Jordan Mincy. he'll tell you, well, everybody knows if they can figure out the shooting part, if they can shoot the ball better, they will perennially win that league. He's done a really good job there. They play defense. They're tough. I know they led the league in three-point percentage, but that was far away from leading it in three-point makes. And so they got to shoot it better. But hey, it was a good year for JU. They're tough. Even last night, down 18, battled back, got it to 3, and just couldn't quite get over the top. But it was a good year for the Dolphins, no question.
Without a doubt. Number 5, Florida concludes its regular season tomorrow against Ole Miss at home on senior night. Walter Clayton Jr., Will Richard, and Elijah Martin will be honored.
If they win that game, they finish the regular season 27-4. I mean, in the history of the program,
it's the second best season ever behind the second title team.
Yeah,
the 13-14 team.
The 14 team won. They were 36-3 because they won those 30 games in a row. But the point is, it's one of the best records in the history of the school.
Right.
And I think they're going to win tomorrow night. And I think they're going to be. I think they got a chance to be a 1 seed. I think if they win tomorrow night and win one time in the tournament, they're a 1 seed. And I think tomorrow night will be electric for those guys. Hays, I think Richard and Martin and of course Clayton will get an ovation that you can't imagine, and good for them.
Absolutely. ESPN's Joe Lunardi has Florida as the 1 seed in the West in this morning's bracketology. Kind of looking at that potential Florida draw, Lunardi has Creighton in West Virginia in the 8-9 game and Kentucky as the 4 seed in UF's top half of the draw. Lunardi has 12 SEC teams in the field.
Yeah, and again, you take that right now. You're going to win the 116 game. I think you're going to beat Creighton, West Virginia. I do believe that. And look, the 1-4 game's supposed to be hard. It's going to be hard no matter who's in there. It's going to be a hard game. So I don't know that I love Kentucky. I think Kentucky, because of their style, they can turn a game into a track meet, and anybody can win a track meet. But I'd rather play a team that's formed a little differently.
Yeah, I don't ever want to see Kentucky.
Yeah. And then, by the way,
in the tournament.
And there's also that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But we'll see. And again, this is just Lunardi's projection, but it will be really interesting to see Florida's path once we get to Selection Sunday, which is now just 9 days away. The final Saturday of the regular season in Power Conference Hoops does feature 4 other intriguing matchups. Number 6, St. John's travels to 20th ranked Marquette at noon. Number 19, Kentucky visits 15th ranked Missouri at noon. Number 7, Alabama travels to top-ranked Auburn at 2:30. And number 2, Duke is at bubble North Carolina at 6:30.
What a game. What a day. I mean, Alabama-Auburn, the Iron Bowl goes hoops is very good. Duke, North Carolina is still Duke, North Carolina, even though the teams aren't evenly matched anymore. That's a good day. Did you say Missouri, Kentucky?
Yeah, Missouri, Kentucky.
What a nice day of game.
Yeah, those are all ranked teams against each other, so a pretty good slate. And again, we have Gators Ole Miss at 6 o'clock. FSU appears headed to hiring alum Luke Locks as its next coach. The 34-year-old Locks is currently an assistant with the Sacramento Kings, who are 32-29 this season. He has never coached in college. Locks played for Leonard Hamilton from 2008 through 2012.
The reason I'm intrigued by this is there's an awful lot of mid-major coaches, head coaches that would have taken this job, and they were locked in on this guy, and I'm impressed by that. We'll see if it's right, but it's clear. This was Mike Alford's guy. You started hearing his name a month ago, right when Leonard Hamilton decided to step down. So Mike Alford clearly got his number one guy. We'll see if the number one guy is a good pick.
In golf, the Arnold Palmer Invitational is going on at Bay Hill. Shane Lowry leads at 8 under after a 5 under 67 today. The former British Open champ holds a 2-shot lead currently over Wyndham Clark.
Yeah, I like Bay Hill. Bay Hill's a fun event. We talked about it yesterday, or you and I did, and did Lee Smith. Only 72 entrants into the tournament. It's the prelude for the big one, which is the Players next week. It'll be fun to watch it over the weekend.
Absolutely, and that Players fan shop is open tomorrow and Sunday. So if you want to go get gear, play on the replica 17th, you have that opportunity. It's totally free.
And next week it all starts. I can't wait. And by the way, it's supposed to rain over the weekend. It's supposed to rain Sunday and Monday some. But after that, we're going to have gorgeous weather for the players, which I can't wait. Love it, love it, love it, love it.
Without a doubt. Let's get it to media. Stephen A. Smith gets a 5-year, $100 million deal from ESPN.
And as part of that deal, the allowance to talk politics. Did you see that? Part of the deal is they're going to allow him to talk politics, which he wants to do. $100 million for Stephen A. Smith. I'll tell you what, I'm not a big fan, but I will say this. If you can make yourself that valuable, good for him. Tip of the cap to him. If you can make someone want you that badly, God bless him.
Absolutely. It was beautiful today for the walk-off clinic, I would imagine. Tell us all about it.
It was one of the best weather days we've ever had. No wind, no clouds, 68 degrees. Honest to God, what a great day. And I will say, I'm glad you asked about it. We had about 140 kids. We have, every clinic we have is a little over 100 to around 200. And we love them all. Probably 140 to 150, which we had today, is the sweet spot. It's not too big. We get to every kid. It's really a fun day. And I want to say this. We wouldn't have this without the support of the baseball community. We get a number of high school coaches out there on a regular basis, but every clinic, we almost always have a number of JU, UNF, FSCJ, Edward Waters players out there. Richie Long is the preseason Atlantic Sun Pitcher of the Year. I mean, he is the Atlantic Sun voted, a 12-team league voted him the best pitcher in the league before the season, and he's probably going to win that. He's that good, and he's out there coaching our kids every Friday morning. Pitch tonight to coach them in the morning. That's really cool stuff. That's giving back and paying it forward, man, and the baseball community really does that, and our little charity would be nothing without the support of so many people in that baseball community, not the least of which are these college players and coaches.
Well, and those little kids must light up when they see college athletes that are there to help them.
Well, you're right, and I've said this too, and they're the sweetest kids ever, Hays. They have no idea how good these coaches are. I mean, the best college coaches, the best high school coaches, the best college players, they just think it's a nice guy that's taking time with them. You know, if they had any idea who's coaching them,
right?
You know, it's pretty amazing stuff. But yeah, they do. Those kids lit up today. A sweet little girl that was wheelchair bound had the most fun hitting and pitching and throwing, and it was just a great day.
That's wonderful stuff. We will get you out on our musical note of the day. We have a 50th year anniversary to celebrate because on this day, back in 1975, David Bowie releases his 9th studio album, Young Americans. This was Bowie's breakthrough in the U.S. as the album peaked at number 9 on the Billboard chart. One cool fun fact about the record is then unknown Luther Vandross was a backup singer. Bowie was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1996. He passed away in 2016. This is the title track of the album, Young Americans.
I never knew that about Luther.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
He was the background singer for David Bowie.
Yeah, on this album.
On this, I had one of the greatest voices in music history, in my opinion. But this isn't about him. This is about Bowie. Great call. Great headlines as always. We appreciate that. We'll be back. We'll wrap the program right after this.
A young American.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
NHL, the Edmonton Oilers are the betting favorite to win this year's Stanley Cup. If the Oilers were to win the Cup, it would be the first Canadian team to win it since 1993. The Dallas Stars are the second betting favorite. They are plus 700. The Carolina Hurricanes and the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers are both at plus 750. The Colorado Avalanche are plus 900. The top team in the Western Conference, the Winnipeg Jets, are plus 1,000. The top team in the Eastern Conference, the Washington Capitals, are plus 1,100. NBA, the Boston Celtics, the favorite to win the title at plus 190, Oklahoma City plus 2,000, and Cleveland plus 550. Earn cash back on your gaming transactions with the GBank Signature Visa Card at vsin.com/GBank. I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010XL.
Plumbing problem? AC acting up? Septic tank trouble? Don't waste time calling 3 different companies. Just call Duck Duck Rooter.
We offer plumbing, septic, and air conditioning services, making it easy for you to work with one trusted company and one simple build. Every department has highly skilled experts trained for the job. For fast, reliable service from a company that does it all the right way, call 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com.
Years ago, when Harold and Harold was growing, we had a decision to make whether we were going to grow into the state or even beyond. And we decided that we were going to stay here in this community in Northeast Florida. That it's staying here and not looking at where's the next place that we can go or how can we get bigger, because the bigger is not necessarily better. This is our home. This is where our families are. This is where our friends are. And this is where we're going to stay. Offices, Jacksonville.
Frank Frangie here. Nimnik Chevrolet is proud to be a 7-time Chevrolet Dealer of the Year recipient, the only dealership in Northeast Florida to ever win this prestigious award, earned by treating customers with courtesy, respect, and fairness. All part of Nimnik's Treating You Right guarantee. Visit nimnikchevy.com to learn more. For 3 generations, Nimnik has been the place customers keep coming back to. They treat you right. Where do you go? The answer is simple. Nobody but Nimnik. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Don't miss the Players' Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scottie Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
Dan and Jeff take you down the fairway with the PGA Tour professionals.
Keep an eye on this one.
Crunch with the Tour.
Tour news, tips, and inside info. Brought to you by
Clearwater Irrigation. 8:30 Tuesday morning on 1010XL.
Poker players, the Run Good Poker Series is coming to Best Bet Jacksonville from April 24th to May 4th with 10 poker events, including the $1,200 main event, hosting a $300,000 guaranteed prize pool, and event number 1, a $400 no-limit hold'em tourney with a $200,000 guarantee. The action is non-stop. One in, win your seat through satellite starting April 4th at Best Bet Jacksonville. For all the Run Good Series structures and details, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Find the Celt in you. March 9 and 10 at the St. Augustine Celtic Music and Heritage Festival with Celtic bands, Highland Games, St. Patrick's Parade and more. CelticStAugustine.com. Sponsored by St. John's County TDC.
Hi, I'm Mike O'Brien with 5-Star Veterans Center. Thank you to the players for supporting our mission of housing and assisting veterans in need and giving them the tools and confidence to reintegrate into society. Just 4 days to the players.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie. If you have a sweet tooth like me, the sweetest desserts in town come from Spoonful Bakery. Spoonful is an online bakery. They deliver boxes of assorted desserts right to your home or office. They're so good, and they make for great gifts for friends or clients. And if you want custom orders, wedding cakes or birthday cakes, or catered desserts for an event, they are the best. Log on to spoonful-bakery.com or call them at 904-515-4984. That's Spoonful Bakery for the sweetest desserts in town.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text ORDER to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text ORDER to 42424. That's ORDER to 42424.
Tired of seeing the signs of aging in the mirror? Fine lines, sun damage, redness? They don't have to be part of your future. I'm Dr. Mark Capel, a board-certified dermatologist, and I can help you look and feel your best without invasive surgery or painful treatments. Imagine rejuvenating your skin in a relaxing, comfortable environment with minimal to no downtime. smooth out fine lines, even skin tone, and restore that youthful glow. Find out how to look and feel your best at Dermagnify.com. Dermagnify.com.
Haymaker Coffee is a local coffee brand to help fuel your daily grind. Why Haymaker? It's fuel for the morning hustle, the late night, and every step of the way. Bold flavors for the bold city. Online at haymakercoffeeco.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
All right, here's where we have been on the course of the show today. We certainly talked about the Jags and their cuts. And we talked about Ingram and Kirk and all the others throughout the course of the show today. That included Pete Prisco joining us, as he always does on Fridays at 5 o'clock. Bill Hickey came on at 4:20, one of the founders of the Military Job Fair. That Military Job Fair is so good. Once again, 10 a.m. to 2 tomorrow at the stadium course at the military outpost near the 16th tee. That's such a great opportunity to help folks associated with the military find jobs. Between 300 and 400 will be out there, and that's really a cool thing. Talk some hoops. JU ended their season a good year, 19 wins, made the Final Four of the semifinals of the ASUN tournament. A good year for the Dolphins. They won 13 conference games, but they lost to North Alabama. And we talked about the Gator basketball team playing one more game. I think they will in the regular season. I think they will beat Ole Miss tomorrow. All right. Next time we do this radio show, there could be new Jaguars.
Do you get a sense at receiver like DK Metcalf, Cooper Kupp, Chris Godwin? Yeah. How would you handicap that?
I wouldn't think any of the three.
Yeah,
I wouldn't think. I don't think the Jags. I'd be surprised if the Jags have interest in any of the three. I don't think. I know Liam knows Godwin. I could be wrong. I know Liam knows Godwin. Cooper Kupp obviously is not what he once was, but was the ultimate slot receiver once upon a time. DK Metcalf obviously I think wants to go to a contender. I think so. I'd be very. I can tell you, I'd be very, extremely surprised if the Jags had any interest in any of those three players. So we'll see. Well, you never know.
Yeah,
I'd be more than surprised.
You think heavy trenches?
Yeah, I think heavy trenches, and I think those guys I consider at the top of the name of free agency guys, and I just don't think you're seeing that. I think you're going to see more mid-level guys. I think trenches. I think receiver and safety and tackles, and defensive tackles and offensive linemen. I think my guess will be by this time next week, I'll even go 7 to 9 guys. And I think I don't think there's any mystery. I don't think there's any breaking news. I think it's I expect a receiver. I expect a safety. I expect a couple offensive linemen. I expect a defensive lineman. But again, I don't know who they are. And I would think mid-level guys. But no, I would be Metcalf, Kupp, Godwin. I'd be very surprised if the Jags are involved at all in any of those guys. So we'll see what winds up happening. So we'll certainly talk about it as it comes up next week. I can't wait. I love it, though. I love this week. I can't wait for that.
It really is one of the best weeks in terms of everything that lines up. You have the Players' Championship going on right in front of you. You've got the start of the new league year in the NFL, so you have a bonanza of moves being made, and that's incredibly exciting to see the new Jaguars that'll be coming. And college basketball is at its exclamation point. You have massive conference tournaments going on. Selection Sunday is right around the corner. It is just such a spectacular week here.
It really is. And I love it, and I love it, and I love it. We haven't even talked about spring practice yet. Florida spring practice has started. I tell you what, boy, they looked the part, man. Just seeing the videos you've seen, they look different. It like I said, I'm not sure if and we'll talk more about this as the weeks go on. We get past the players and get closer to the spring game. Hays, I'm not sure he can coach them. We'll find out. And the Lagway stuff's a little bothersome, only because I wanted to watch him fired all over the place in the spring, and we're not going to see that now because whether the shoulder or whatever it is. And I'm bummed out. But boy, it sure seems like they're gonna have a good roster, man. It just, boy, oh boy, it just seems like they're gonna have a really good football. Again, we'll see how good a coach they are. We'll see how brutal that schedule is on them. But man, it feels just watching them, just seeing them. I can't find a position where I don't feel like they got a bunch of good players. That I can't tell you the last time I felt that way about the Florida football team. That I can't find a position where they don't have a handful of good players. Maybe 20 was like that. But I'd have to remember. I'd have to think back to what they had at corner.
That's the thing. I just don't remember the 20 team being very good defensively.
Yeah, and I don't remember
they were unbelievable on offense.
I'm trying to remember the last time I can look at a Florida team and think, boy, they got a bunch of good cornerbacks. They got a bunch of good running backs. They got a bunch of good linebackers. They've got a few good tight ends. They got a bunch of good receivers. So we'll see. But we'll obviously in a couple weeks to come, we'll certainly talk about that as we move along. As for college basketball. Is Florida going to be a 1 seed in the NCAA basketball tournament?
Yes.
I think so, too.
They may not even be the fourth seed. They may not have to go out west.
Yeah.
They probably will. I think Auburn and Duke are locked in the South and in the East.
Yeah.
But
they could get to
I think they could be – I think they have a strong argument over Houston
what happens,
for the third. I mean, how many teams have won at Auburn, at Alabama, and beaten Tennessee by 30? Those are all top 5 teams.
What happens a lot of times, though, is you can be the third best number 1 seed and still go west if the fourth best, Houston, is staying where they're geographically makes sense.
Right.
That happens a lot. Like, just because if Florida winds up in the west, that doesn't mean they were seeded lower than – they were a lower one than Houston. It might just mean, okay, the top 2, Auburn and Duke, stayed in their geography. Rather than put 2 in a different geography, you put the third, Florida, out of their geography, and then you keep Houston in theirs, which would make sense. So my guess is if those are the 4, Florida's going west. I would think. I will tell you this. Auburn's got the best resume in the country. Auburn and Duke have the best resume in the country. I think Auburn's got the best resume in the country. Homer alert, indulge me. I'm not sure they're better than Florida. I mean, Florida did go in there and beat them, I think, soundly. And the records are about the same. The one thing, Florida's going to get dinged on. I heard Billis say this the other day, and he's right. Because he wasn't completely sure what he had, he did not schedule a particularly difficult non-conference schedule. And that will – it's not going to work. They're going to be a 1 seed. But if in comparing them to the other 1 seeds, or if they wind up as a 2, if we're wrong and they wind up getting a 2 seed, not a 1 seed, one of the reasons it'll work against them is they did not have a particularly difficult non-conference schedule. For that reason, I think they've got 7 quad 1 wins when there's a number of teams that have far more than that. That's the one thing that could work against them.
Yeah, and that was just sort of a bad break. Virginia obviously didn't have the season they thought they would have. North Carolina didn't have the season they thought they would have. So it wasn't for like a lack of effort. It just didn't work out all that well.
There's some truth to that. Yeah, I hear you.
But I go back to what your best currency in that room, in the selection committee room, your best currency is top 5 road wins. And for Florida to have wins at Auburn and at Alabama and to really not have a bad loss. Their worst loss is at Georgia. Well, that's a quad 1 game. I mean, so when your worst loss is to a team that's Lenardi's got Georgia as a 10 seed, if that's your worst loss on the season, that's not hurting you either. So I think if they beat Ole Miss Saturday tomorrow, Florida will be a 1 seed no matter what they do in Nashville. Now, I think they're going to advance because Friday they're going to play the best team they could possibly play is the 7 seed, and whoever and I think it'll be Ole Miss, but whoever ends up being the 7 seed. And they will obviously have played the day before. Florida will be fresh. So, I mean, I think Florida will advance to Saturday, and then we'll see what happens there. I actually like their chances because I think Alabama's going to be the 3 seed. So Florida's the 2 facing Alabama, the 3 in all likelihood in the semifinal. I think they win that, and then they probably lose to all. It'll probably be like last year. They'll probably get to the final. It'll be 1 versus 2 in this go around, Auburn, Florida, but the same 2 schools. And, Auburn will probably beat them because I do think Auburn is probably the best team in the country, even though Florida won on their home floor.
Yeah, but you know what? I'd take my chance with that game again.
Oh, yeah.
And I do, and I am a big believer, the whole rest versus rust thing. I would rather – I think if you look back at teams that won championships, they probably won their conference championship first, including Florida.
These are young men. 3 or 4 days off, that's more than enough than what they need. So, even if you play Sunday, again, the NCAA does a great job. That means you're probably not playing until Friday. So, you've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday off before you play. No reason that fatigue should – you just may not play well. but fatigue shouldn't factor into that at all. And again, in Florida's case, I mean, Florida's probably going to be a 32-point favorite in their 1 versus 16 matchup.
Yeah, so that's exactly right. So, all right, it's going to be a fun weekend of sports, no question at all. Let's say hello to Rick Ballou.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
All right, Blue, I got to tell you this. I'm going to tell you something right now and right now only.
Be easy.
My friend, I can't because my friend Hays Carlyon asked me a minute ago, you have to ask Ballou about losing hockey player Andrew Marchand. Okay. To me being the hockey guy.
Right.
No, okay.
Well, Hays is my go-to when we talk hockey.
But I had to correct him, okay, and tell him it was not. It's Brian Marchand, okay. I had to correct him. So how do we feel about Brian Marchand going to the Tampa Bay Lightning?
Oh, man. You know, I've talked.
He's going to punch me right in the head.
Outside of Hays, I've talked to my two favorite sources, Kendra Middleton in Boston.
Okay.
How the hell did you let her go?
Yeah.
And I told Blaylock that, damn it, once again, you broke my heart.
Yeah.
And she's all fired up right now.
Yeah.
They're going to put him on the same line with Kachuk and Sam Bennett.
Yeah.
And this is going to be, you talking about an aggressive, it's going to be like the Hanson brothers, okay, from Slapshot, because you're talking about three of the dirtiest players in hockey, and it's going to be sensational. You know what, hockey doesn't get the love, obviously, of football and other sports, but I think you'd be hard-pressed to find right now, professionally speaking, a guy who is more disliked than Brad Marchand. And those Florida Panther fans hate him. But guess what?
Now they got him.
They love him now.
I didn't know that.
Okay, they love him now. And you can think of Roger Clemens going from Boston or New York, or he went to Toronto for 2 years before that. But, A-Rod, no matter where he went. But I don't know if there's someone in sports right now. If so, I'd love to have the listeners tell us so. But I think he would be number one.
Are they going to be like the best team? Are they going to win again?
Panthers?
Are they going to win it again?
Well, you know what it's like once you get into the playoffs. You need a hot goaltender. You do, and then you see a lot of mistake goals, dirty goals, and things like that out in front of the crease that can make a difference. But I got to believe right now, some great teams in the West. Winnipeg has had an unbelievable year. To all our Winnipeg fans out there listening.
So you're going to, okay.
We'll have a full breakdown on that coming up in 15 minutes. Okay, the Colorado Avalanche have two of the best players in hockey.
Right.
I mean,
so that's what we got tonight. I'm not locked in.
Winnipeg. We're going to start with you, Winnipeg. Okay. Because if you haven't heard, there's a lot of love lately between the USA and Canada.
I didn't know that.
Let's begin in Winnipeg.
All right, Rick Ballou goes into the night talking hockey and more. That's our guy. All right, that'll do it for our program. Don't go anywhere. Rick Ballou is up right now. Have a great weekend, everybody. Next week, we'll talk a lot of golf. We'll see you from Sawgrass. For Hays and JJ, I'm Frank